morning, everyone. It's Robert from On My Turntable. Hope you're having a great morning this morning. It is Wednesday morning, as always, coffee kind of morning. Wanted to continue my Elms to Discover series coming up soon. Showing the police and Outlandish Dalmore, and that'll be coming up in the next couple of days. And today I wanted to show you some albums I picked up, mainly from one particular band. I had one of their albums in a box of albums I was given, and I didn't really understand who it was. I thought it was a parody at first of a band, and I'll explain that in just a moment. But then I started listening to it, and damn good. Damn good. So the band is Steely Span, not to be confused with Steely Dan. There's no comparison whatsoever. These guys are a folk, English folk rock band. Steely Dan is an American jazz fusion rock band. No comparison from the two. I tried to look up to see if there's any comparison. One stole the name from the other. I didn't find anything like that. And this band's name came from a song title and an idea. So it necessarily no comparison to Steely Dan whatsoever. But these guys are really good and quite different than what I normally listen to, which is another thing I like about it. So they're an English folk rock band from London, England, formed around 1969. One of the best known acts as far as the British Folk Festival, and one of the most commercially successful bands out of that folk style music as well. They've had a ton of albums. They've had 4 top 40 albums, and traveled all over the world. Most of their songs include traditional songs, jigs and reels. Some even include children's ballads, but they can rock it out when they want to as well, and add a little progressive rock in there also. Pretty cool. As I said earlier, the name Steely Span, Steeley, where Steely Dan was Steely, and Span, comes from the chorus in a song, Hark Stow Grange. It's about a fight between John Steely Span and John Boland. And it's a fictional character in the song as well. So nothing to do with any particular person, place, thing. It's just a fictional character in a song. That's where the name came from. As I said, most of their music is traditional, but it's got some rock and edge to it as well. They can rock it out when they want to. Had a ton of lineup changes since 1969. Some leave, some return. They've released 22 studio albums and a greatest hits album, 11 live albums, and 5 DVDs of their world tours. So they've been around for quite a while. So 1971's album, I love this cover. It's on the Chrysalis label as well. So this is 10-Man Mop, or Reservoir Butler Rides Again. It's their 3rd album by the band. I still got to get a couple of their first 2. The album cover is actually of 2 villagers at the Bidford Mop, which was an annual fair in the village of Bidford. Apparently there's lots of heavy drinking going on in this fair. It's known for their heavy drinking. It's got Maddie Pryor on vocals, an amazing vocalist in Maddie Pryor. She's one of the mainstays of the band. You got Tim Hart on vocals and dulcimer and guitar, keyboards, banjo and mandolin. You got Peter Knight on the fiddle and banjo and mandolin as well. Ashley Hutchins on bass, and Martin Carthy on vocals and guitar and organ. So quite a wide variety of musicians on this album. Then you got this one here. This is Below the Salt, again on Chrysalis. Below the Salt is the fourth album by the band, released in 1972. It's a combination of medieval themes and British folk rock. All these albums I've got it. I have to give them a more of a listen. I just breezed through them yesterday just to see what they sounded like. So I can't really give a review of each individual song. I just know that's great. I really do. Another lineup in the band: Tim Hart and Matty Pryor, leaving them the only original members of the band. Bob Johnson and Richard Keys make their debut with the band, and the single "Godette" becomes the first hit to reach number 14 on the charts, on the UK charts, and the album itself reached number 93 on the UK charts as well. You get Matty Pryor on vocals, Tim Hart on vocals, dulcimer and guitar, Peter Knight on violin, viola, and mandolin, banjo and piano, Rick Kemp on bass, drums, and vocals, and Bob Johnson on guitar and vocals as well. Awesome stuff. Another awesome cover. This is Parcel of Rogues. Like, that's beautiful, that album cover. Again, another Chrysalis release. It's the fifth album by the band, released in 1973. Up to this point, it's been the most successful album to date. The album was a result of a project the band was working on. It's a kind of writing about a book, a novel that Robert Louis Stevenson put out in 1886 called Kidnapped. The theme of the album is the change between old and new. So it's kind of I don't know if it's a concept album. I'm pretty sure it is. They also backed up Jethro Tull on this album in Jethro Tull's U.S. tour, which was pretty cool. Matty Pryor on vocals, Tim Hart on vocals, guitar and dulcimer, Bob Johnson on vocals and guitar, Rick Keys on bass and drums, Peter Knight on violin, viola, mandolin, and bass. And you got All Around My Hat. This is the one I had in that boxed collection, and I didn't know what it was at first. I hadn't really listened to it for maybe 6 months or so, and then I finally put it on and was blown away by it. Again, another Chrysalis release. So, released in 1975, and the eighth album by the band, reached number 7 in the UK, and the single All Around the Hat hit number 5 in the UK as well. The song All Around the Hat was later recorded by the great band, one of my new favorites, Status Quo, in 1996, and the lead singer for Steely's band, Matty Pryor, actually was a guest vocalist on the song. Status Quo joined them in their England tour, and when it come to an encore by Status Quo, Matty Pryor actually came out and sang lead vocals for the song, which is pretty cool as well. Same lineup as the previous album. And finally, the only album I have left. There's tons more, obviously. This is Rocket Cottage, another cool album cover. Again, on Chrysalis. The ninth album, released in 1976. It was just released just prior to the explosion of punk at the time. So it's kind of bad timing to release this album. People obviously veered toward the punk movement rather than the folk movement, leaving this album at least not as successful as their previous releases. Therefore, Peter Knight and Bob Johnson left the band after this because the band just wasn't doing what they wanted to do. It's really a great album. I did listen to this one right through, and there's more rock influences on this one over folk, and but the band felt pressured to do this album, make it more more commercially accessible, rather than the traditional style of folk. And that caused friction in the band, and they didn't like what was going on. Hence why the two guys left the band. But definitely check out Steely Span. Great traditional folk rock band. There's banjo and guitar battles going on between the two. Some great musicianship. A lot of progressive rock in this one. A lot of rock in this one as well. And awesome vocals throughout. So great band that I'm glad I found and picked up. And yeah, check these guys out, Steely Span. Anyway, guys, have a great day. I'll probably be back on Friday, maybe Saturday, with my Albums to Discover series with the Police. Anyway, take care, guys. Love you all. Bye now.